Right now on Up with KREM, COVID cases are dropping in Washington, but the state's health secretary says it's still too early to start rolling back restrictions.
And this morning, wow, if you haven't checked out your screen, look at this, a beautiful sunrise over Spokane as we have patchy fog and sun poking through some clouds.
The Port of Seattle is one of the largest cargo gateways in the United States, but it's seeing backlogs in the global supply chain, worsened by the pandemic.
It's still going to get worse before it gets better.
Up with KREM begins now.
Well, check this out. The National Weather Service of Spokane tweeted out that the high temperature in Pullman on Wednesday was the coldest high on record for October 13th. Also, Spokane tied a record for snowfall from 2017. Wow. Okay, so that was a lot to digest there. I'm like trying to do the math there.
Yeah, and a couple of those things. Yeah, the coldest high temperature. It's one of those ones where it's like the warmest low temperature. Yeah. You're going, okay, what does that mean? So basically it means you had a really cold afternoon. And when you were out giving out books with Mark and Whitney anchoring yesterday and the rest of the KREM crew, I tweeted at Mark and I said, it's not officially raining, but I'd call it a wet 42. And he went, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where to transition from that, but at least it's not going to be wet today, right?
Exactly. So let's get you out the door early on this morning. What a beautiful start to the day. It is downright gorgeous outside. A gorgeous sunrise across the region. And when it comes to trace amounts of snow, basically a couple of flakes hit the ground is what that means. And that is kind of what we saw and what we expected. We saw snow mixing in with some of that rain, but it melted as fast as it fell. That's just the nature of the beast this time of year. You need snowfall rates at more than 1 inch per hour to get anything to stick, and that just wasn't in the cards for us yesterday. But what we did see was a little bit of moisture, and this morning that moisture is leading to some patchy fog. Right now our temperatures are on the cool side, but starting to see some of that fog develop to the west of town. Also seeing it up and over Snoqualmie and Lookout Pass. So if you're heading up and over a mountain pass, just know you could encounter some slick roads and patchy fog. That's going to be the case today. But for the most part, it is those chilly temps as we kick things off this morning. 31 in Spokane, 31 in Ritzville, and 30 in Moses Lake. Elsewhere, it's temps already starting to climb up into the mid-30s, but expect it to be a slow climb. We're kind of in the dry spot right now, so we'll see a little bit of sunshine, but later on today, clouds build back in. We'll see the chance of more widespread showers down to our south. That's in the Palouse. But for us here in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, a couple of stray showers this afternoon, light ones, not out of the question before we start to see a shift as we get into the weekend. And that shift brings about much warmer temperatures and more sunshine. But for now, it is warmer. By this afternoon, we're shooting for 50. I think we come up just shy, but we're going for it. But what I do think winds up happening is more clouds move in later this afternoon.
Taking a live look at Sacred Heart this morning, COVID cases and hospitalizations are on the decline in Washington across all age groups. But the state secretary of health says we are nowhere near the point where we could start lifting any restrictions, especially with the flu season and the winter holidays coming soon.
It is hard to believe, but Thanksgiving is 6 weeks away from tomorrow. So if you are not yet protected and have not yet received your COVID-19 vaccine, you have time to get that full protection before that holiday.
Health officials are encouraging you to get vaccinated for both COVID and the flu. They are reminding you to wear your mask if you're going to be indoors with people outside of your household. Time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. The Bonner County Sheriff's Office is looking for 46-year-old Eric Loren Benzo. He's accused of first-degree murder. On Monday, the Sheriff's Office, they were called to investigate a shooting in Old Town, Idaho. They found a man suffering from a gunshot wound on the 500 block of Silver Birch Lane. They began life-saving efforts, but the victim did die. Sheriffs say the suspect and the victim were in a relationship. If you see Benzo, contact the Bonner County Dispatch, that number there at the bottom of your screen. A former Idaho state representative accused of sexually assaulting an intern appeared in court on Wednesday. 39-year-old Aaron Von Ellinger is charged with felony counts of rape and forcible penetration. Right now, he is free on his own recognizance after being extradited back to Idaho from Georgia. Von Ellinger resigned from his seat in the Idaho House in April after an ethics committee found he committed conduct unbecoming of a representative. If convicted, he could face life in prison and register as a sex offender. He's due back in court at the end of the month. Spokane is set to host the first NCAA women's tournament in the city since the start of the pandemic. The Spokane Arena, along with the University of Idaho, will host the Women's Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. The game will be March 25th through the 28th. Tickets go on sale this upcoming Tuesday at 7 a.m. Anyone who buys a ticket to those games will be added to a priority wait list to buy tickets to the 2024 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, which will also be held at the Spokane Arena. Well, the big quit continues across the country. New data showing Americans are leaving their jobs at record rates. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics is reporting 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs in August. That's 2.9% of the workforce. That's the highest percentage ever reported by the BLS Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey. The data also showing the numbers of workers who quit in August rose by 242,000 from July. Experts say the top 3 reasons for people quitting: demands for higher pay, better employment conditions, and critical support. New information about a beluga whale that traveled far from home. Our sister station in Seattle caught this video up to the wayward whale in Commencement Bay last week. Usually belugas stay in much colder waters around Alaska. Marine biologists have been keeping a close eye on it though, and say right now it looks thin, but not dangerously thin. If you see it in the sound, give it room and let the Orca Network know where you saw it as soon as possible so they can track it. That's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
The commitments being made today are a sign of major progress in moving goods from manufacturers to a store or to your front door.
President Biden is working to relieve supply chain bottlenecks that are driving prices up. The Port of Los Angeles will now operate 24/7. That port, along with the Port of Long Beach, make up 40% of all shipping containers entering the U.S. Prices are jumping mainly because those containers are getting stranded. Walmart, FedEx, and UPS also announcing they are expanding hours to address the issue. Here in Washington, the supply chain issue has yet to be addressed. Our sister station was at the Port of Seattle with more on how the terminals are managing these same issues.
The Port of Seattle is one of the largest cargo gateways in the United States. More than 26 million metric tons of goods moved through this port and the Port of Tacoma in 2017. A warning from the Northwest Seaport Alliance.
It's still going to get worse before it gets better.
Port terminals here are seeing unprecedented backlogs in the global supply chain worsened by pandemic times, with container ships anchored outside terminals and cargo sitting around waiting for trucks to deliver and warehouses to store. A strain felt by Edmonds-based business owner Dustin Goss.
And we're seeing significant delays with cargo transit.
His business, Makota, is a custom design house for companies that make winter gear.
Well, what's in those containers that you need?
Right now we're waiting on snow gloves.
And beanies and caps, things that'll be in high demand in coming months, and something port commissioners also brought up.
The fact that the holiday rush is still in front of us, and so that's concerning.
And with the holidays coming up, you might be wondering if gifts you plan to buy will arrive on time.
Goss is not so sure.
Where everybody's trying to get goods in at the same time, they're rushing goods, and anything that was coming in for a holiday or a seasonal demand is struggling.
On top of supply issues, Goss says he's absorbing freight surcharges, prices he's never seen before.
You know, where we used to pay $3,600 to $3,900 to move a 40-foot container, you're anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000.
Costs that Goss guesses will trickle down to consumers.
Keep moving product. You know, don't let it sit and delay, because for some reason these ships are parked.
Christine Pei, King 5 News.
So what are the solutions? The Northwest Seaport Alliance says they've extended terminal operation hours, though it's not like 24/7 like LA. So they're also addressing warehouse congestion and a shortage of truckers and equipment to move some of those goods.
Oh, Jesus.
Science fiction became science fact for actor William Shatner as the 90-year-old Star Trek Captain Kirk became the oldest person to travel to space.